Hi, my name is Sarah Ray, and I'm an editor at Cities Today, which is the global publication for city innovation leaders. And at Cities Today, we're always interested in the impact of new trends and technologies on cities. So I'm very happy to be moderating today's panel on the metaverse and cities. So first of all, I'd like to begin by introducing our panelists. So we have Teppo Rantanen, who is the Executive Director at the City of Tampere in Finland. Miguel Marin, who is the founder and leader of Metaverse Community in Mexico, and Dana Tramesh, who is the founder and CEO of In Situ. So just to kick the discussion off, I'd like to ask the panelists to introduce their organisation or their city, in Teppo's case, to give some context for the discussion. So Dana, can we start with you, please? Can you tell us a little bit about In Situ?
Hey, of course. Thanks for having me here. Nice to meet you all. So I'm Dana. I'm the founder and CEO of In Situ. I call from Brooklyn, New York today. In Situ is a New York-based company, a startup on the mission to bring future cities or the future of cities to life through augmented reality in a highly accessible manner for residents, industry professionals, and policymakers to collaborate on the process of urban change. I'm an architect in my background. I studied architecture and worked as an architect back in Tel Aviv, Israel, and moved to New York 6 years ago to study urban data science, and founded In Situ here. And our company takes any type of development or planning information from either developers, architects, or city agencies, and turn the data into location-based augmented reality view, real scale in the future site, again, to give easy access to everyone to show and experience our future.
Thank you. And Miguel, can you tell us a bit about Metaverse Community in Mexico?
Yeah, thank you. And hello to everyone. Nice to meet you. I'm Miguel Marin. I'm from Guadalajara, Mexico, where tequila is from. And we are a community, an open community, and we collaborate very strong with some governments around the region. So we have some initiatives related to education about the metaverse, entrepreneurship. We have an incubator for metaverse technology projects. And also we help communities around Mexico to learn and understand the benefits of these technologies and learn more about these challenges in the implementation of these cases. And my background is I am a computer science engineer, and also I studied the career of piano in Guadalajara. So I like creativity and technology and merge it to create some very cool things.
Brilliant, thank you. And Teppo, could you tell us a bit about Tampere?
Sure, Sarah. Hello, everybody. My name is Teppo Rantanen. I come from the second largest city region in Finland called Tampere. We have about 500,000 population, and we are the most wanted city and the happiest country in the world. So it's a pretty good place to be and develop these things. We've been developing with the city now a smart city project since 2016, and it has emerged from a smart Tampere to a data-driven city to now what is called to be the metaverse city of the future. So we've been working on a lot of these topics in the last few years. So happy to be here.
Brilliant, thank you. So before we get started with a few more examples, I first wanted to ask each of you how you define the metaverse, since it's not a universally defined term. So it's good to understand how you all see it. So Miguel, let's start with you.
Yes, well, I like the Matthew Ball's approach in its book, The Metaverse, and how it will revolutionize everything. I think the simplest way to describe it is like an extension of the internet. So we are facing these artificial intelligence components, these data, big data components, this extended reality that is merging with the AI. We have this kind of decentralized economies with the blockchain technologies. So these components are working together, and they are bringing us a very huge experience of the new internet. So we face the Metaverse like an extension of internet with their use cases and also their problems that are now we are facing now.
And Teppo, how about you? How do you define it if you try to explain it to your residents, for example?
Sure. So we have been quite strongly stating that the metaverse for us is not only something that happens virtually, it's something where you actually mix the virtual and real reality together. So for us, it's something which actually helps our citizens in their everyday lives, so makes their everyday life better. And we take all the elements of what we have been working on underneath the metaverse concept, that is the digital twins, XR reality, AI, specifically generative AI today, and connectivity, and bringing them all together. That brings us an opportunity to bring totally new services and new solutions to our people. And that is what we are now developing and going towards our vision of Metaverse 2040.
And Dana, how about you? Do you have a definition that you like to use?
Yeah, so I cannot agree more with you, Teppo, of the actual premise of Web3 technologies. And to be honest, I don't really like the word metaverse, maybe because of the automated translation that most of us are doing to it of an external world, right? And to me, the big advantage and value of this type of technologies is the ability to be blended to our day-to-day lives, to improve them, to color them, layer them with more information, to enrich how we interact with our built environment, with our live communities, to promote better conversations, more informed conversations, and more conversations that happen in real time in the street, face to face, rather than behind these bots or in social media. And I think today we see how dangerous it is, what's going on in social media. And I think the metaverse can introduce a threat of just making this more extreme and more polarized, but it can also do the opposite and bring us together like we thought social media will do 20 years ago.
Definitely, and a bit later on we'll definitely talk about some of the risks and mitigating them. But Dana, what are your views about some of the opportunities that the metaverse offers for city governments and their residents? And can you give us some examples from the work that you're doing?
Absolutely, and I'm coming from a discussion with my team about 2 pilots that we are concluding next week with 2 US cities. We worked over the summer and fall with Washington, D.C., with the Department of Buildings, and with Charleston, South Carolina, with multi-stakeholders there, to bring the future of these 2 cities to life through augmented reality. What we did there is we took the permits data for new constructions and ran this information, which is a tabular information, through our pipeline to generate 3D models and place them in their future location. And for 8 weeks, the 8 weeks next week, we celebrated the fact that the future is actually accessible to every person with a smartphone. We did walks in the future, demos, pop-ups. And one thing that we learned is that the reliability and the quality of the data really result in the success or lack of success of these pilots. And Charleston versus DC are 2 very different cities. In Charleston, we had much less developed, let's say, and less reliable data, which resulted in much less smaller numbers of projects that we were able to bring to life because the data was outdated or didn't exist, right? So something that we're doing alongside these pilots and the projects that we put in AR and of course collect public feedback from it, we are standardizing what data should look like for cities in the Web3 world. Because urban development and city planning, yes, every city has its own zoning, its own processes, but eventually we're all talking about the same thing, about footprint, address, height, mass, FAR, right? The floor area ratio, density, number of housing, or what land use. This can be standardized. And I think in a world that have these amazing technologies such as AR, VR, mixed reality, we need to make sure that our data and the data that cities collect to make their processes more transparent and inclusive to the public should align with all the opportunities that these technologies provide us with. So that became kind of a parallel effort and mission to our company to also kind of take cities hand by hand while they're improving their data collection for urban development.
Great. And in some of these pilots and projects that you do with cities, do you see evidence that the engagement is better with residents through this type of approach?
Incredible numbers of engagement. So these two pilots came after a proof of concept, a POC that we did here in New York last winter, so winter of 2023. This wasn't officially with the city. We just used open data from DOB in New York, Department of Buildings, exactly the same. Took permits for new construction, ran them through the pipeline, and did some guerrilla marketing, just like went out there to the streets with stickers and QR codes. And after only a few weeks, we had hundreds and hundreds of individual organic scans of these QR codes. And we also collect not just the number of scans, but also the time spent in AR. And we had more than 72 hours of New Yorkers viewing actual projects in their future locations as if they are built. So with that success from the ground, we could prove something that I believe in for a long time, which is people do care. It's very easy to say no one cares and only a small subset of people are coming to planning hearings to raise their voice. We fail. We policymakers, architects, we fail that we do not communicate good enough these projects or these visions, and that we provide an allegedly open system, right? Like city planning you can participate in, but it's very inaccessible to most people. So we could prove that way that people do care, that when we restructure the data and give it to them in a way that it's like literally at their fingertips as they walk down the street, they will raise their voice, they will interact with this content, they will become more informed and empowered in regards to how their neighborhoods are changing.
Thank you very much. So Teppo, related to that, you're one of the first cities that has come out to state your ambitions in the metaverse. So I just wondered, what is it about this that has caught your attention in terms of the benefits for you as a city government and your residents?
Well, I think the most important thing for us was to look into how we can actually take all the big vision that we put together and then drill down to what it means for us today and what is the road from here to 2040 in a way that we can take sort of a small low-hanging fruits and start working on those and making sure that we always develop something which is useful for our citizens and for our people, but at the same time also things which are very, very cool. So just one thing which probably is not the first thing that people think when they think about the city as a metaverse is that we've been working on the whole sort of experience industry and entertainment industry on that. So we have a fantastic new arena, which is, it's sponsored by Nokia. So we have a Nokia technology there. So we have a fantastic connectivity, and we're using different type of XR reality tests and showcases there within the arena and also outside to bring the people live sort of experiences on things that otherwise would not be possible for them to experience. And that is something which we are always trying to look for, those angles for our citizens where we can take it and showcase it already today and make use of that. And of course, when the technology evolves and things are developing further, we can improve that and hopefully getting better and better using the whole XR technology and the connectivity technology of the future. The other thing, which if you look at from the other sort of a big example of digital twins, we've been working on a model. We have basically a digital twin from the whole city, working on things like how you can plan the drone routes in the city using the digital twins and trying to understand where the drones should be actually going and what should be doing and how can we help by understanding better city through the digital twin lenses. So different use cases, different stories, a lot of those going on. So it's been just great to see those opportunities that this brings us, and the technology can actually help us to improve the everyday life of our citizens.
Thanks. And Miguel, how about you? What are the main opportunities that you see of the metaverse for city governments and residents?
Well, as a community, we have a lot of initiatives. Most of the initiatives are with social impact. So I think that we have to start with the demand and not with the offer or the supply of solutions. In our region, we have very interesting challenges because we have a government that don't understand what is a metaverse, what is digital identity, what is blockchain, what is I don't know, all the technologies that are revolutionizing the experience of the internet. So recently we have this advisory with the federal government, with the senators of our country. So I'm proud to talk about this because we participated in the definition for our country of the metaverse word, and this word is now in our constitution, and also the blockchain, what is blockchain and what cases are is important for civilians, for people who need to heritage something digital, you know. So that this is one of the most important initiatives that we worked with our government. But about this demand, we started to understand what are the fundamentals for our country to implement the metaverse, because our particular region, it's like we have very different problems than other countries. We have problems with the latency, with the infrastructure, with the access to internet. So what is the metaverse for those people? And this is why we understand the metaverse like an habilitator, like a technology that can bring people new ways to understand the gaming, for example, the production of content, so or the entertainment industry, or to understand how to give those communities better experiences for learning. So right now we are working with a government of Jalisco, where is Guadalajara is the capital city. We made this first or initial framework to implement the metaverse technologies. What are the fundamentals? What are the minimal mechanisms or initiatives that they can bring to their citizens? And with this demand, you can propose some solutions. And this is why we are working with entrepreneurs. The government of Guadalajara has an initiative for creators and an incubator for entrepreneurs. So we are working with the innovation and the entrepreneurs sectors for bringing them the metaverse technologies to help them to understand how to implement in their business cases. And after that, we could start to make a panorama of our country. So we are starting to develop this framework to implement the metaverse in our country. And there are a lot of challenges. There are a lot of things to improve, not just the contents, not just the platforms. It's about more the communities, their purposes. We have to show them sometimes how to participate in a community, how is their role in a community, that there are different kind of roles there, like the universities. What are the role of the universities? What are the role of the academic people, the enterprises, the government? And I think that one of the most important opportunities for government is to help and being like an enabler for this kind of discussions. And this is where we are working now.
Okay, great. So before we go and talk about some more examples, I just wanted to address a bit of an elephant in the room about the metaverse, that earlier this year, you know, there was a lot of hype about the metaverse, and then earlier this year there were a few headlines, you know, like whatever happened to the metaverse is dead. I just wonder, you know, how you see that, Dana. What do you think? Obviously, you probably don't agree, but I'm just wondering, you know, how you would respond to those headlines.
I think this sentence, the metaverse is dead, is maybe because there was this hype, which was unreasonable, right? About like, okay, we're going to build this world parallel to ours, and now everyone has moved to the next hype, which is AI and Gen AI for everything. Great. I think this is good because now we are beyond these like big promises and like also big threats, and we can take a look what really this technology has to propose and how we can actually use it for promoting better values, promoting liberal values, democracy, civility, to really improve our actual lives, right, with this new technology that can take inaccessible processes, inaccessible data, and make them really more transparent, bring them to the fingertips, to the palms of residents and professionals to work together. So I think that this is a good and also pretty natural evolvement of this discourse.
Thank you. Miguel, how about you? Did those headlines concern you?
Well, I'm agree because with Dana, because there was a lot of hype when Meta entered to this metaverse, or whatever Meta thinks that the metaverse is. But I think that this is a technology that is just in the rising moment. It is not. Everything is like when you melt a metal, it's like there's no form, you know. You have to understand that for the metaverse that we want to see or we need to use, there are a lot of technologies that are going to be enablers for this metaverse. And one of the technologies that are more important is the artificial intelligence and the generative and artificial intelligence, because this is the way that you could be the creator for your community, for the contents, for the, I don't know, the laws, the economy. You need to have like a reality on demand. But if you need this to happen, you have to merge a lot of technologies together and make it in real time. So I understand, or the way I see this metaverse is that is not born, you know, it's just rising. You are now exploring new ways that the artificial intelligence and the blockchain and the IoT, and we have new concepts like the AIoT technologies, and how these are merging with the XR technologies are ways to use the technology that we didn't see before. So I think that we are like we are facing like all these changes since we printed in our homes and we have this internet, very slow internet in our houses, to this moment. I think that the new digital natives that are people, or are the kids that are born after the 2000, are going to see the benefits of the real metaverse, because we are now like the constructors of this infrastructure. We are like immigrants in this nation of digital natives in this 2023 now.
Thank you. And Teppo, how about you? I mean, what did you think when you saw these headlines saying the metaverse is over before it began?
Well, I think it's a lot of sort of a misunderstanding of what the metaverse actually is and what it means, and probably the one company who chose the name wasn't a good example of that, and that probably didn't help. But it's interesting to see, because what happens now, for example, in EU, where EU is starting to work really, really hard on the topic of metaverse for the cities. They actually call it cityverse. So EU's term is cityverse, which they are using, which I think that they sort of said that they like to use something else than metaverse for the name of it. But to me, it's more like an umbrella which is on top of everything, and that helps us maybe to create the idea of the future and the vision of the future. But then it's a lot of hard technologies underneath it. And I think the most important thing will be how we actually are in the future seeing the metaverse shaping up in a way of what sort of technologies, what sort of platforms, who's sort of owning that space, and then all this sort of things which will only emerge in the next years to come. And that is where we as a city want to be definitely playing a part, and wanting to see that we can be part of thinking about that, and thinking about, as EU also wants to see how it can be sort of a safeguarding its openness and its sort of a ability to service different providers, not only maybe one. So that is something which we are also working on as a city.
Great. So related to that, I just wanted to ask a bit more about your plans and how you see your role. So do you envision Tampere building its own municipal metaverse like Seoul, or do you have a different vision, or is it as yet undecided?
I think we're still sort of trying to find out what is the best way of doing that. But for example, there's a big submission now for EU, which we have done together with cities like Rotterdam and Istanbul and Leuven, and we are working together with multiple cities on developing these things. The other form where we have been working on this is the International Telecommunications Union, where we are part of their Metaverse working group, which is basically a global team around the world, and trying to figure out what regulation is needed around that. What is the sort of we're looking at, for example, one of the very, very important topics for us is the ethics of metaverse, and how the ethics of metaverse will be dealt upon as a public sector entity. It's very, very important for us that we can showcase to our people, to our citizens, that they can still have and enjoy the same trust they have today. I mean, we in Finland are enjoying the trust that people are giving to the government, and we want to maintain that also in this future of metaverse. And we see therefore our role being quite important in developing these things, not the technology itself, but helping to understand how it should be, how the framework should be built around that, and how we can make sure that everything that is sort of put there is actually something which is safe and secure and respects the privacy and ethical requirements.
Definitely. So we'll definitely come back to ethics in some more detail. But Dana, I wanted to ask you, so we've seen Seoul sort of recreate their city hall in the metaverse. Do you see a lot of cities doing this type of thing, or do you see them having, you know, can you see different types of roles for different cities?
I think that taking like this point of view of the city hall and making it more accessible, it's important. And I see our technology serves this, you know, the traditional process of public hearings, community meetings, charrettes. I don't think we're there to replace them. I think we're there to empower them and enrich them with more informed residents and with more continuous conversation. So the biggest problem with these meetings is that not everyone, first, most people don't hear about them, right? And just don't know that they exist. But even if they do, many people do not have the time or ability or capacity to come and attend them and participate. And even post-COVID, when most of these are in Zoom, still most of them are 7 to 11 p.m. I have 3 small kids here at home, so for the next decade I can attend them, and I think that zoning is the most interesting thing in the world. So the ability to have these meetings, but before the meeting, send to your mailing list this link and encourage people to go just outside, experience this development that we're going to discuss and come more informed, or after the meeting, send people home with this homework, or the ability to keep exploring and keep raising their voice even if they couldn't attend. This can ensure a more inclusive conversation, again, more representative feedback from the representative audience and not just from the subset that will always be active no matter what.
Great. And Miguel, how about you? I mean, what opportunities do you see for different types of roles for cities to play here? You know, maybe they won't all build their own metaverse, so to speak, or, you know, what do you think?
Well, currently, I think most cities are in early stages of exploring this metaverse, but mainly, I think that there are a lot of mainly are experimental projects or pilots. So I think that the concept of digital twin cities is gaining very cool attraction. So I think that in the real world, we have very strong challenges to solve, because most of them are related with the data, the privacy. And I see that we are redefining a lot of this because we have very bad experiences in the past times in the use of the internet. So I think that it's cool to understand how to create virtual replicas of urban planning and how to manage these cities. So as I said before, we are in this infancy period of the technologies, and there's a lot of long road to go ahead and to investigate and integrate technologies to bring citizens real use cases for application. So my role here is more like enabler or like showing them the possibilities, because you cannot talk about smart cities without the government, without the politics, without the laws, the infrastructure, and all the actors that are working together with these purposes. So here our role is to build an ecosystem for the implementation of these metaverse initiatives. And I see that there are a lot of long road to go ahead. So it's very cool to explore together with you and understand the things that you are doing in your countries.
Great. So everyone has already alluded to the potential risks here. So Dana, just wanted to hear your perspective on what some of the specific risks could be with cities adopting the metaverse more, and you know how we can get ahead of those and avoid some disruption that we've perhaps seen with other technologies.
I think the biggest risk in general today is disinformation and misinformation. And when cities are kind of opening, knowingly or not knowingly, right, their ways to the metaverse or these types of technologies without the needed regulations or breaks that need to be applied, we are at risk for just making the discourse worse rather than better, to enable more polarization of our communities and more kind of to decrease equity instead of promoting it.
And what steps do you think should be taken now to sort of get ahead of that and make sure, you know, it doesn't happen and we're not looking back and regretting it again?
So I think kind of for cities to take control on these, on how they embed and promote these technologies, rather than ignoring that they exist, and then suddenly they will see them every day in the public space, right? Like it happened with Uber or the ride-sharing apps or the Amazons, and you know now that cities need to, after effect, deal with the implications to retail, right? So just acknowledging now what can happen, taking control in a way of ensuring data standardizations, ensuring quality, ensuring that the processes that we put in place are protecting citizens, protecting the cities and democracy. This is the way to do it, rather than keeping everything open and wait to see what will happen.
Yeah. And Miguel, how about you? Are there any specific risks that concern you? And, how are you working with the community in Mexico to try to get ahead of those?
Yes, there are a lot of challenges that we are facing now. I think, well, as we navigate this digital frontier between the metaverse and the real world, we must address that there are several challenges. The need of robust technological infrastructure, I think that cannot be overstated. Without it, the potential of the metaverse will be unrealized and unuseful. I think that could be useless if there is no infrastructure for the implementation. Another is the privacy and the data security. I think that are paramount as we collect and utilize vast amounts of data, including sensitive biometric data or other information of citizens. We have to ensure that citizens' privacy and rights are protected. This is one of the states that we are currently facing in all the world. What is privacy, and there are a lot of philosophically debates about it. So I think other is that the digital divide is another significant concern, because I think we must work diligently to ensure that the metaverse is accessible to everyone, not just for a few people or someone who is privileged to use it. This means that addressing the accessibility barriers and providing opportunities for this digital literacy and inclusion could be a very great initiative. And lastly, the most, I think, critical is the regulatory landscape for the metaverse, because every day is evolving, and we are now seeing regulations in other countries, and that is responding to their own specific needs, their local needs. So it's imperative to develop like balanced regulatory frameworks or initial frameworks to encourage the innovation and safeguarding of citizens' data that is going to be traduced in the well-being of people. That is my point.
In the community that you're working with, are you seeing any progress in these areas? Any specific policies or lobbying for regulation or things like that?
Yeah, we work with some governments to understand, first of all of these concepts and understand the constitution of our country. This is the very first initial initiative. So we could plan further initiatives we have in our community, but it's not related with the government projects. We have inclusion for technologies in communities who are solving problems with homeless dogs and cats, for feminist causes. And we see a lot of people that are in the social, like entrepreneurs, that they want to use these technologies because there are a lot of black holes, I don't know, in the laws, that when you use these technologies, that you can achieve your purposes of your organizations. So we have retail initiatives, we have initiatives for homeless pets in our cities, we have feminist causes, we have inclusion for indigenous people to understand the development of these technologies. I think the inclusion of people who don't understand or don't have the opportunity to develop these technologies is very important for us.
Brilliant. So Teppo, you've put out this Metaverse report, which included some, quite detailed research and forward thinking. So I just wondered what some of the foundational things that you're putting in place in Tampere are. So Dana mentioned the importance of data quality and standards and that type of thing. We've mentioned getting ahead of some of the risks. Could you tell us about some of the foundational steps that you're taking?
I think that both Dan and Miguel put quite nicely the requirements that we need to have in place in order to make this sort of happen. But I think that one of the fundamentals that we've been thinking about is you need to really educate the politicians. You need to make sure that you have the decision makers are also up to speed and they understand what we're doing. The same goes with the top decision makers in the city. And then you have to be thinking about how you engage the people, how you engage the ordinary citizens, so that we understand that they're sort of a knowledge of technology is not so high that they should be aware of all the technical details. How can we explain what we are doing? How we can explain what the metaverse concept does for them and helps them in their lives? And I think that is one of the key issues, because otherwise, if you don't get the buy-in from the people, you also don't get the full aspects of the full benefits of the metaverse up and running. And that's what we've been thinking a lot, how you can sort of make it visible and sort of easy to understand what we are doing, and the things that we have been trying to put forward are things which are sort of simple to know and grasp and take and put into use. And at the end of the day, I don't think that people even need to know about what technologies lie beneath all the things that we have been providing them with, as long as they can trust that the data they're providing is being held secure and safe. And as long as they know that we as a city and the sort of services we are providing are for the benefit, for the good for them. So this is sort of a balance that we're trying to work on, and we are promoting our stuff, which sometimes is not easy, but we try to think about how to do it in the best possible way.
And Dana, I saw you nodding there about the need to engage politicians and residents. Was there anything that you wanted to add there?
I think it's not just politicians, it's also the industry professionals that most people, maybe today more than before, but still are not familiar with these technologies and with even the ability, right, to visualize data to residents. So I think we need to find ways to pilot with again, both the private sector and the public sector to introduce these technologies, to then start conversations about how to really integrate them into our day-to-day processes.
Thank you. So we're coming to near the end of the session now. So just a quick fire question to finish. Miguel, we'll start with you. Any cities who are intrigued about the opportunities of the metaverse, but perhaps not sure where to start, what would you suggest?
Well, I think that the easiest way to get involved in this is to make a research about the communities, the global communities that are defining a lot of things, because it's not just the XR community, it's not just about the AI, but we have to make it open. I think one of my conclusions is that the metaverse it's a tremendous promise for cities and citizens. However, I think that realizing this potential requires a thoughtful collaboration between everyone. I think that the governments, technology developers, educators, like the media, the local media, the people who are in the education areas. And I think that together we can harness the power of the metaverse to create a more connected and efficient and vibrant, I think, experience of this existence. I think it's a very first step, and by joining there are a lot of communities that you can learn about these topics.
Excellent. And Dana, how about you, for someone from a city who might be intrigued but unsure, what would you say?
So sorry for the barking. I think there are, again, a lot of ways to pilot smart cities technologies. And I encourage cities, counties, states to look for these opportunities. Mostly innovation is there. And we, the entrepreneurs, are eager to pilot with cities. So really helping us find a way to pilot with you will be the first step.
Thank you. And Teppo, any closing message to your peers in other cities?
Well, I would just say that let's work together. So we've been trying to open up and share our information, share what we have been doing to all of the cities around the world. And it's fantastic to see the cities which we're working together right now include cities like Los Angeles or Dubai or Madrid or Nusantara in Indonesia, because they all want to learn what we have been doing and we want to share that. So come and visit us and see what we have been doing.
I just want to thank the panelists, Dana, Miguel and Teppo, for your great insights. And I think we are now going to take some questions from the audience.